I bought a soil test a few weeks ago and I wasn't able to use it yet because we had so much mud. I really want to improve the soil and where our garden space is going to be before our seedlings are ready, before it's time to plant, which will be around the end of May. But we can't do any of this until our soil is ready. One important thing to do before getting your soil ready is to test it so that you know how to amend your soil. If we don't have our soil ready by then, we won't be able to get all the seedlings we plan on planting in the soil, the bushes and the trees in the ground by then. And the longer they aren't in the ground, the more detrimental it will be for their health. So we finally have a week of dry weather. So now is the time for us to get this soil test done. So let's go. This is probably my only chance to get this soil test done because there's a couple more days this week that are supposed to start raining or snowing. It's still a little bit wet, but I think I'll be able to dig deep enough and be able to get the sample that I need. I'm supposed to dig down 6 inches and get a sample from there, and I'm supposed to get 7 different samples based on the size of our garden. So let's go. As I'm walking over to our garden area, it is actually not too bad. In most areas, I'm not sinking ankle deep in mud. There does look like there will be some places where there have been vehicles that have driven through the dirt that are more muddy. So I'll just have to try to dig around those areas, just making sure that I get a variety of different places to make sure that I get the most accurate sample. I just realized I forgot to bring my bigger shovel. I was hoping to bring that and just use my spade to scoop out the soil, but I have my spade, so if I'm not too lazy, I'll go get the shovel, but we'll see if we can make this work. I did measure at home, and 6 inches is about to right here on this silver part of this spade, so that's what I'm aiming for as far as depth goes. I did head back and get my shovel because that took way too long. I'm not gonna lie, it feels so good to get my hands back in the soil. I really missed that over the summer, and it's been way too long since I've had this chance to work with dirt. So I am just feeling so good right now. It's a sunny day, it's not too windy, it is warm, and I am working in my future garden, and it feels so good. So let's go to our next spot. I'm trying to get 7 different places throughout the garden space. It's been interesting. There have been little rocks most of the way throughout the garden, just little ones, not any large stones, which is better than, small stones are better than large stones, so that's comforting that I won't be spending hours and hours of time removing giant rocks, though I do feel like there will be some of those. Something else that I'm noticing that I'm kind of surprised about is that I'm not seeing that much clay. It's more sandy soil. So I'm interested to see what we get back in our soil test, but it looks more sandy and slightly rocky than I thought it would just be like thick, solid clay, which to me, I'd prefer sandier soil over clay. So I'm also happy about that. We still have about 60 more feet to test, so we'll see how the garden changes as we progress our way back. Something else that I'm making sure to do as I'm collecting soil samples is that I'm working in somewhat of a W shape, so kind of a zigzag throughout the back of our garden, just to make sure I get all different spots. we get soil from 7 different locations of the garden. They said to stir around the soil just to make sure it's fully incorporated, and then to my kids are getting muddy. Okay, come here. So that the soil's fully mixed, and then to remove any like rocks or twigs or anything that might mess with your sample. So I think we've got a good sample mix. My kit's still at home, so we'll bring this bucket home and put a little bit in there, and they said within 6 to 8 days we'll have results online. This soil test was pretty simple to use. It came with a paper that has instructions on how to use your kit and also how to register your kit. You'll have to register it before you send in your sample. Once I got the soil sample all ready to go, then I was able to ship it that day. You should definitely send your soil sample in the mail the day that you do it or the day after, but I would not wait any longer. They say not to wait to ship your soil sample. After that, I received an email letting me know when they had received my sample. I really look forward to getting those results back. So I had ordered a few pear trees and some grape plants from Stark Brothers. At checkout, I selected to not have these be shipped here until May, but they just got here. So they're bare root plants, so we're gonna try to figure out a way to keep their roots moist and hopefully keep them dormant until it's time to plant them. So not the ideal situation, but I have a really sweet friend who is letting me ship all of our berry plants, grapes, these pear trees to her house. I wasn't sure when we would get to move in, so I just got done picking it up from her house, and she's so nice to let me do this, but not ideal. So let's hope that we can try to keep these plants healthy and hopefully dormant for as long as we can. I really want to see if we can plant some of our trees and bushes at our property before we can move in. We're gonna ask about that and see what they say. I have a feeling it'll be no, but we're just gonna try to ask anyway. I opened up the pear trees and grape plants. If you have never ordered a bare root plant before, this is usually what they look like when they arrive. The roots will have wet paper wrapped around them and the plant will look dead. This is because it is dormant, so don't worry about it. I went ahead and decided to prune these 2 young pear trees. I am pruning them using the same method I used while pruning my other fruit trees. Because they are dormant, the trees will be able to handle this first aggressive cut well. I'm not sure how or when you are supposed to prune grapevines, so that is something I need to research. Bare root plants are supposed to be planted right away. I obviously am not able to plant these right now because we haven't moved yet, but what I plan on doing is I will keep these roots moist and rewrap the plants, and I'm going to store them in my cool garage for a few days until I can decide what to do with them. I did a double layer of wrapping around the roots just to make sure that the moisture would be able to stay in there as best as possible, and I will be checking these periodically until I can get them healed into the ground. So as I mentioned before, when I picked up our pear trees and our grape plants, we were hoping to ask our builder if we could, sneak in and get some garden work done before we actually own or close on the home. And this is what he said, which makes me love living in a small town even more. But something that he also said was that they will have to do some grading around the house when it's all finished, which means that they will level out the soil at a slant away from the home, so any water buildup that happens around the home will drain away from the home, preventing any flooding, which is what we want. But that grading might occur around, near, or on where we're going to plant some of our garden vegetables and fruit trees. So he said we could do it, but we would risk something getting run over or smushed or trampled. So as much as I just want to dive in and get started on the garden, I think we'll try to play it safe and not plant anything, especially the fruit trees, because they're actually going to be where they might do most of the grading. But what I think I will do is, when we got the bare root plants, it said one thing that we could do to preserve their roots while we wait for planting is to plant them into the ground on a slant. And I think I'll do that near the back end of our property where I know they won't be digging around. In fact, I might even put it on the other side of the giant tree that we got, the climbing tree, that I know that they won't get run over, and I might just let them stay there until we can plant them. I think that'll be better than them just being stored in my garage. Some of the supplies we need for our rabbits have arrived. Things are getting real. We should be constructing the rabbit hutches in the next few weeks or so. I will have to build them at our rental, which I'm not excited about, because the final plans I'm envisioning can't be done until we move. So we might get the basic shelter setup done first, and then after we move in, we can finish the complete home. See if anything has happened. The floors! The floors, they've done the floors, you guys. That looks so good. For our flooring, we went with the luxurious vinyl plank flooring. It resists scratches and water damage, which is something we need here on the homestead. I don't want high maintenance flooring because I've got better things to worry about. They also put in the bases for all the cabinets in the kitchen and also in the bathrooms, so I'm guessing those will be coming soon. This also helped me to be able to visualize again how much space we will be having in the dining area. It's gonna be a little tight, but honestly I still value having more counter space over a larger dining space. It looks like they have all the wood for the trim and then the shelving for the closets. And then they have all the doors ready to go, so that is exciting. Now that we have the soil test done and some plans for getting our garden ready, I feel so much better about what we're going to be able to accomplish in the time that we have. If you guys want to see the video where I went over all the things that we ordered, all the trees, all the berries, and the seeds that we're planning on planting this year, go ahead and click here.